Good morning to respective panel and thank you for the opportunity to present today. My name is Kavyani Selvaraj and my message number is VR220145. Today, I will be presenting on my final year project entitled Savvy Ventures Inventory Management System. Without further delay, let's move into the introduction. Effective inventory management is important for any business, especially in the veterinary supply field, where smooth operation depends on accurate and timely stock tracking. At present, Savvy Ventures uses manual methods like spreadsheets and paperwork, which causes them errors and delays in their daily business process. Thus, the proposed system here provides a web-based platform to automate and manage their inventory more efficiently and accurately. The proposed system here is adapted to prototyping model for its system development. This approach is very ideal due to its refining requirements through continuous user feedback and iterative system improvement. Let's look into the stakeholder. Our main stakeholder of this project and the system is Mr. Prasad Robinson, the owner of David Ventures. He operates a veterinary equipment supply business based in Madrid, Milan, and also has been directly involved in providing insights into the challenges faced and features needed in the new proposed system. Let's look into the scope of the project. The scope of this project includes seven core modules that cover key operational areas such as login, inventory management, vendor and stock management, sales, reporting, and notification. The system supports two core user roles, which is the admin and staff, where the staff is divided into two, which is normal staff, which is like a clerk or the manager, each with access to relevant features based on their responsibility. Let's look into the problem statement. Through our analysis, we have identified three major issues faced by David Ventures in their current business process. First, it is difficult for them to track stock levels and product availability, which affects their daily operations. Second, assessing data becomes very slow, which makes them hard for staff and the manager or either the admin to make quick decisions or generate reports efficiently. Lastly, the use of manual methods in their business often leads to inaccurate or outdated information, which results in errors and customer dissatisfaction. Let's look into the objective. In order to solve this problem, this project aims to design an inventory management system for saving ventures based on a structured approach. The second objective is to develop the inventory management system with the features tailored to the company need. And lastly, the project aims to test the developed system to ensure it functions effectively and meet the intended requirements of the saving venture. Now, I will walk you through the demonstration of the system. Right. The system here begins at the login page where users have to enter a valid email and password in order to access the system. So there are three roles which are admin, manager, and staff. So each of the user holds a unique email and ID in order to access the system. So before furthering into logging into the system, let me give a glimpse on the input validation that has been worked on this login page. So at the very first case, if the user enters an email that is not registered under the system will display an error message and also deny the access to access the system. So at the second part, if the email exists but the password they had entered is invalid, it also shows an invalid password error message and also deny their access. So in other way around, we also have included a forget password button over here in order for user to reset their password in case they have forgotten their password. So basically how this forget password works is when the user clicks the forget password, it actually triggers a notification to the admin. So once the admin has approved, the user will receive a default password, which is default 123. Upon logging in with this default password, the user is redirected to a page where they can create a new password in order for them to reaccess their system. So upon a successful login, the system will redirect to the dashboard. So let's move into the system with adding the actual email and password. So this icon here is to view the password if user is enter it correctly or not. So upon successful login, it has been redirected to the dashboard page here. So at the left, we have all the modules included in the system. At the header, we have Save It Ventures logo, and also to our right, we have this user profile management, notification bell icon for us to view on the notification, and also a revisable clock for us to view on the user logs, which include admin, manager, and staff activities. So at the corner right, at the bottom, we also have this short pop out for us to view on the low stock item. So we can actually click on the view details to view on the summary of the low stock item. Also, we can click as read in case we have read the notification. So at the home module, we have three main interface segments, which is the dashboard, sale activity, and also inventory summary. So basically, all these three interfaces um, summarize and give us an overview of the current operation, transaction activity, and the key business metrics of Civic Ventures. So we can actually switch between these pages using this top navigation bar, and also the content will appear in the middle of the screen. So let's move into the second module, which is the staff module. So the staff module here is mainly added for admin page only, for admin to access and maintain the staff roles and the availability. So at the staff module interface here, we have this add staff button for us to add a new staff order. And also we have reset request, which I previously mentioned about the forget password. So upon request on the forget password, it will be stored into this reset request. So admin can basically enter into this reset request for admin to approve or deny the request for the password reset. Also at the table here, we have a summary of staff records with the actions available like edit and also delete. This pencil icon is basically for us to edit on the records of the existing uh, user, and also this dustbin icon is for us to delete on the existing data. So this icon is basically a summarized form of all the details related to one of the data. And also we have included a filter for us to filter on the rules based on the user. Now let's move into the vendor module. So the vendor module here also work as we see, where we have add vendor, where we can create a new vendor. Also, we can add on the status of the vendor, whether the vendor is active or inactive. Also, we can scroll to our right to view on the actions available, which is to edit the existing data or delete one of the vendor. Also, if you see here, we do have active order, which actually shows the summary of orders that we have been placed with the vendor. Also, the status, which shows the vendor is active or inactive. We can also filter it here accordingly to active and inactive vendor. So moving into the one of the core module of the system, which is the inventory. So this inventory section here is divided into two segments, which is category and also product. So category basically defines the family that related to one of its product. So we have almost 12 categories here. Also for the category, the could work the same, where we can add the category with its name, description, and status, with whether it is active or inactive. Also, at the actions here, we have this eye icon for us to view the summary details of one of the category, specifically each individual category. Also, a pencil icon for us to update existing data, and also the dustbin icon for us to delete on the existing data. So also we have a placeholder like a summary which shows description of a category if it is too long. So we don't have to actually click on this eye icon in order to read on the description. Instead, we can actually place our cursor here for us to actually view what is the description of the category if it is too long. So moving into the product, which is one of the core sub-module under inventory. So the product here actually shows what are the product available and also what is the status and from whom, which vendor, and it falls under which category. So from this table, we can see that we do have stock status, which indicates the color code of each product according to the quantity it has. For example, if it is above 70, it indicates in green color code, which says in stock. If, let's say, the stock is below 60, it indicates a low stock with a color code of yellow. If the stock is under 10, it indicates critical stock with a color code of red. We can also set the status of the product to active and inactive here. Also, we can view the created and added date of the product. So the same CRUD function is applied here, which is the eye icon for us to view all the details. Here, pencil icon for us to update, dustbin icon for us to delete, and add product is to create a new product. So basically at this product module, we do have wholesale price and also retail price, where wholesale price is basically the price we are getting from the vendor, and the retail price is for us to sell, which basically the selling price for the customer. So this total value shows here is actually calculated based on the retail price that we have been selling to the customer. Also, this summary cards here shows the total value aligning with the total product and the total quantity we do have. Also, it unites the low stock item here with the active product out of the total product. So moving on to the next module, which is the customer. So customer module here is actually for us to save on the records of our customer. So the grid modules here works the same, where we can add a customer with their new details over here. Also, we do have an icon, pencil icon, and also dustbin icon for us to do the further action over here. So moving into the next second core module, which is the sales module. So the sales module here is basically divided into three sub-modules, which are the sales order, invoice, and also the shipment record. So the sales order is basically we are placing the order that we are getting from our customer. So the code here works the same as I mentioned earlier. We can create a new sale by clicking on this button, selecting a customer. For example, I'm selecting on Samudara Veterinary and Surgery, selecting a product, for example, Nano Vet Pet Scheme with the listed uh, listed cost of the product, sales date, which is today, and we can also see the available quantity here, which is 70. So we, for example, let's place an order of 20. So the subtotal here is auto calculated based on the quantity we place. So we do receive input validation upon a successful added product. So we can view at the new record here at the table, which we just added. And moving to the next sub module, which is sale invoice. So the sale invoice here is basically auto created when a new sale order is placed. So for example, we have placed Samudara Veterinary Surgery order at this sales order. So the invoice here is automatically created. And what, as a user, what we have to add on is to make it active, we have to um, key in on the payment status and also the payment method. Also, at the action available here, we do have a quick action for us to generate the PDF, the invoice as a PDF by clicking on this PDF. For example, if let's say payment status I'm keying in as a processing and payment method as bank transfer, save changes. So it will, the color code will turn into yellow for processing, and the payment method will turn into bank transfer. So upon clicking on this sales invoice ID, we can actually view the past purchases of the similar customer. For example, from Samudara, we do have previous invoices from this customer, which is a sale made on 9th of the June, where we can view the invoice here with the summary of their address, the product, the quantity, and also the total, and also the payment method here. So it's basically a summary for us to keep track of our customer purchases via the invoices. So moving into the next sub module, which is the shipment record. So this shipment record is also auto created when there is a new sale recorded. So for example, as we did just now, Samudara Veterinary and Surgery. So the shipping ID 0018 is also auto added for the invoice 0018. So at this section, we in order to make it active, we have to, as a user, we have to key in on the carrier, and also the status will change accordingly when the carrier is updated. So for the estimated delivery here, so this estimated delivery is auto calculated from the added date, which means from the created date, sales date, it will be auto calculated delivery for 5 days. But we also can alter the estimated delivery date at this action button. So if let's say from 16, it calculated 5 days and it shows 21. So if let's say we want to make it further, we can also set it into 23. And the carrier, once we have put JNT update, the status will turn into processing. So upon the deliver date, which means like once the 23rd is received, the status will change into delivered. So let's move into the another submodule, which is supply merchandise. Supply merchandise is basically a connection between the vendor and inventory. Where this supplier merchandise, we do have a stock orders for us to keep track of stock in and stock out. So the CRUD functions here works the same, where we can create a new stock order by selecting the vendor, category, product, and quantity here. Once we have placed, the cost price is auto-calculated according to the product and the quantity, and also the total cost price. Also, the change time, we do have two types of change time, which is the stock in, stock out. When stock is in, the product will be added into the inventory. When stock is out, the product will be reduced from the inventory. For example, let me show a sample. So for example, let's take PDO2/0 with a quantity of 250. So when we are adding a stock order here, express, wet glide, current is 250, and quantity, let's say we are adding 50. So the cost price is auto-calculated and the total cost is also auto-calculated. Date is the date we are entering the record, and expected delivery date. If let's say it is a stock out or stock in, we can actually key in the expected delivery date. Change in reason, for example, stock fire, stock out, period. And when we glance through the product from 250, it has been reduced to 200. So the same feature works when we add a product. So when we add back a 50 quantity of stock, it will automatically add it to the inventory table. So let's move into the report module, where this report module actually shows the summary of the reports for better decision making. So we do have a few reports here that indicates customer sales, product sales, shipment report, and also sales invoice history. Besides that, we also have a quick action of reports like sales department, inventory department. So we have two options here where we can view, we can also export as PDF. So the exported report will basically shows like this. So moving into the one of the core module here, which is the notification. So I do have two type of notification for the system, which is the pop-out notification and also notification by email. So the pop-out notification, as I mentioned earlier, this is the pop-out notification where we will be receiving every 30 seconds of interval. So for the pop-out, we can also have click on the view details for us to view on the summary of the low stock with the product information, suggested vendor, what is the current stock, pricing information, additional information, and also the sales information so far. So that is for the pop-out notification. We can also view the record of the low stock over here. For notification by email, this is sent via email to the register user email. So in case if you like to send a reminder email again, we can click on the resend email. And the email is sent successfully to all the recipients. So when the email is sent, it will be received by the users at the email here. So, but this email here, we do have a limitation where on one day we can only send up to 500 emails. So here is the email that will be received by the user with the product information like the product name, current stock, minimum required, and also the category. So upon that, that are the core modules that I have almost implemented into Savit Ventures inventory management system. So the revisable clock here is for us to view on the logs, as I mentioned earlier. So all the logs will be saved here for admin. They can view up to admin logs, staff logs, and also manager logs. They can also filter according to the users here, the modules, and also the roles. So for that's all for admin. So basically for manager and staff, it works the same. The flow is almost the same, but it's just some of the rules are not accessible by the individuals. Like for staff, staff can view vendors, but staff can't edit vendors. Like manager wise, manager doesn't have a staff management module. So some of the roles are restricted from performing some of the activities. So that's all from me. Thank you.